Shavua Tov to everyone. As we're getting close to a fast day this week, the Sarah B'Tevet that comes out on a Friday, I thought it would be important to go over a few things that are general for any fast day, but of course more specific for a fast day that comes out on Friday. So this coming Friday, there's going to be a very clear division between the morning and the afternoon. The morning is a regular fast day like any other fast day. The davening doesn't change. The afternoon, on the other hand, because it's Erev Shabbos, we go into a mode that's very similar to Tanis Esther right before Purim. Namely, in the afternoon, there won't be Tachanun. By extension, there won't be Avinu Malkeinu. But, on the other hand, we will lean and say the Haftorah even at Mincha. And the question is why? How come Erev Shabbos at Mincha changes anything? Now, it's true that there's one day a year in which midday is different from the time beforehand, and that's Erev Pesach. On Erev Pesach, at midday started the obligation to bring the Korban Pesach, and as a result of which, indeed, various things changed at that moment. Amongst them is if someone's sitting Shiva, he gets up from Shiva at that moment. Not so on a regular Erev Shabbos. On a regular Erev Shabbos, on the books, he should sit Shiva until slightly before Shabbos, even after midday. And from this perspective, since this Friday is a regular Friday, how come midday does change things? This is not just a question about when a fast day comes out on Friday, but rather when actually it happens to be any Friday. We omit Tachanun at Mincha. And I believe the answer is not so much because something changes on Friday, but rather it's a way of the halacha getting you ready for Shabbos. You can't just walk into Shabbos from the week and expect to instantly change, but rather it takes a little bit of preparation, not just cooking the food and not just vacuuming the rug and not just taking a shower, but rather emotionally. You have to get into a day that's different. And therefore, one of the things that we do in order to get into that is indeed to omit Tachanun. Very much like all restrictions that are in the books and off the books regarding eating on a Friday. In general, you're allowed to eat on Friday, except if it's a fast day. But there are restrictions as to making parties on Friday and eating too much before Shabbos. It's not just that you shouldn't be too full for the Shabbos meal, but rather it gets you into a mood that you're about to go into a different day. So from this perspective, even though Friday in and of itself doesn't change, the davening does, because not so much midday is different than the morning, but rather for what we're about to go into, for what we're about to enter, and that is a day of Shabbos. And this is especially true when a fast day comes out on Friday, because you're going from fasting and mourning to a day of absolute eating and oneg. And therefore, it's even more important that it be gradual. And I believe this little halacha teaches us something very important. You can't go from love to hate, or from hate to love, or from one radical to the next without preparation. And indeed, this particular Friday is going to be a day where that preparation is essential. And thus, already by Mincha, on the one hand, it's still a fast day, we'll lean and say the Haftorah. But on the other hand, we'll omit Tachanun and Avinu Malkeinu, not so much because Friday's different, but rather because it's a preparation towards what we're getting into.